Hey everybody, Adrian here. AZPlow21 is the channel name, and I'm back finally with some more WMMA 5, bringing you Ruth versus Cara de Zapato. It's been a long time coming, and I do apologize. Life has gotten in the way a little bit. Nonetheless, bringing you some more WMMA 5 action here. It has been some time since I've dealt with the save. It isn't just me playing on my own. I just haven't necessarily had the time to do this for you guys. I do apologize, but hopefully with a little bit more time on my hands, I'll be able to get out some more episodes. They will be vastly shorter episodes, and they will be more in number, but not exactly more in substance. I'm not going to be doing any of the, front office stuff on camera. I'm going to be doing that behind the scenes, so that way the videos aren't all 1 hour long. They're going to be more, 20 minutes long. I'm not going to be doing the whole 2 shows an episode thing. I'm just going to be doing one episode at a time and then leaving you guys with some thoughts and then looking forward towards the next shows and keeping you updated on some things that I have going on. But I'm not necessarily going to be doing everything right in front of you guys. So with that said, we have Fight Night tonight, and it is Ruth versus Cara de Zapato. We'll take a look at our upcoming cards. Starting with this one, once again, only showing the main card fights and only showing the main event as far as, like actually going through the match and going through the fight. So as you can see there's our undercard, our prelims, if you want to say. And there's our main card, starting out with heavyweight Gabriel Gonzaga taking on Alexander Emelianenko. Actually, I think he is a brother of Fedor. Yeah, in fact, he is the brother of Fedor. Top heavyweight in his own right, I guess we'll see. Damian Stasiak taking on Cole Miller. Then we have light heavyweights in action as Devin Clark takes on Magomed Ankalaev. That'll be an interesting one to see, as then next we have Alan Jouban taking on Jake Matthews, followed by Santiago Ponzinibbio, who I believe just came off a suspension in this game, was out for quite some time. As let's see, employment history, personal. Not sure if we can see health. Maybe it might. Yeah, here. Yeah. See, drug test failures February 2019. So we did actually just get off of a drug test suspension for recreational drugs. So just smoking a little bit too much pot. I don't think pot should necessarily be a substance that's ban worthy or suspension worthy as far as mixed martial arts. That's just my opinion, but nonetheless, our main events, it's in the middleweight division featuring the number 25th ranked Ed Ruth, Easy Ed Ruth, and he's actually a real life fighter, not one of the regens that I've had in my game. He starts out in Bellator. He had a couple fights in Bellator in this save, and then I signed him up with wins over Brennan Ward. Rafael Carvalho came in, got a win over Chris Kamazi and Alessio Sakara. Everything seemed to be going good for him until he lost to Sugar Rashad Evans, a very, very old Sugar Rashad Evans, I should say. And he's facing off against Antonio Carlos Jr., another one who seemed to have everything going for him in the UFC in real life. Then lost to Daniel Kelly, lost to Patrick Cummins, of course, the guy who stepped in to face Daniel Cormier early in his career. So things not looking all that great for him. He's coming off a no contest to Melvin Gillard, and also lost to Vitor Belfort. So that's the main event of that one, and it's Fight Night. So let's go ahead and get on to it. The main pay-per-view that we're working towards is UFC 252, Velasquez versus Rothwell. And what a main card we have. Tai Tuivasa taking on Travis Brown. Joanna Jędrzejczyk, still don't know how to say it. Help me out in the comments if you know exactly how to pronounce her last name. Taking on Carla Esparza. Sage Northcutt taking on Joe Lauzon. And then for the lightweight championship, Conor McGregor taking on Dustin Poirier. Not exactly realistic, but nonetheless, Conor McGregor in the semi-main event. And then we have Cain Velasquez taking on Ben Rothwell for the heavyweight championship in the main event. That is UFC 252. Looking forward even a little bit more, UFC 253 is already booked, and the main event of that one is a bantamweight championship fight between TJ Dillashaw and Thomas Almeida. And if we're looking even further, UFC 254, Saturday, week 4, November 2020, as we are a couple years into the save already. Main events for the welterweight championship, Vincente Luque, the current welterweight champion, taking on Gunnar Nelson. Also, women's featherweight championship fight in that one. Marlois Conan taking on Cyborg. I have already scheduled up to 255, and as you can see there, I have my main event for that fight card as well, as it's going to be Costa taking on Machida. Costa, of course, our middleweight champion. Just look at that dude, just ripped beyond compare. And he'll be taking on the Dragon Machida, who's come into his own a little bit, has a little bit of resurgence, has won a couple of fights in consecutive fashion. Mark Munoz and Luke Rockhold, former middleweight champion. That fight against Rockhold enough to get him a championship fight against a very game 29-year-old Costa. Co-main event. I'm not exactly sure if this will be the co-main event, but it's a very good fight nonetheless. Roy McDonald, former welterweight champion, taking on a Mike Perry, who is coming right off, I believe, a win over, was it Paul Daly. Had a grudge match against Sean Strickland, beat Chad Laprise, Ben Henderson. He's had a very good go of it, has Mike Perry, and Platinum is looking to get it done against Roy McDonald, the number 3 versus the number 9 ranked welterweight fighters. But nonetheless, we have a fight card to get to, and we're going to get to it right here. Once again, sorry for all the waits, but nonetheless, here we go. It's going to be Ed Ruth versus Cara de Zapato. And so our first prelim fight, Cindy Battlecat Dandois. You might hear a couple of memes about her and how she's not the greatest opponent. As you can see there, 13-6. The bookies have it rather even. Natsuko, let's see what her deal is. She's actually a regen, 0-1 in the UFC so far after going 5-0 in Invicta and Jules. Of course, Invicta is my not exactly my feeder league system, more of a minor league system where I sign up regen fighters and I send them down there to fight it out, and hopefully they come out with a good record. And Takashita certainly did that, but lost in her first UFC fight. And she has her second one against Dandois, and she takes the win. Dandois going down to 13-7, while Takashita gets her first win in the UFC. And she's very happy, and she has star power about her. So now it's going to be Figueiredo taking on Elliott in what I am assuming is the flyweight division. As yes, it is the flyweight division. 16-12-1. Although he's a very heavy favorite as Tim Elliott. And he does in fact take the win. TKO in round 2. So Tim Elliott coming out on top, and he wants to fight Martin McDonough. Alright. So Louis Pretty Boy Facette, 10-3, taking on a Cool Hand Luke Sanders. Fun fact, Luke Sanders actually real life boyfriend of WWE superstar Becky Lynch. He actually had a fight at the UFC event that was actually here in town. I want to say it was Poirier versus Gaethje. Yeah, Poirier versus Gaethje. Very good fight. Poirier ended up winning. He did win the fight on that fight card. So Luke Sanders, a little bit of a favorite here. We're going to see who comes out with it, and it's going to be Luke Sanders. Becky Lynch is in the crowd. She's very happy, and she sees her boyfriend put a Kimura on Facette and take the win in round 3. And Luke Sanders shows respect and praises Facette for his skill and toughness. All right, moving on. Corey Sandhagen taking on Tukhugov, 20-5 Tukhugov, taking on Sandhagen. Once again, these are just the prelim fights, but they are in the UFC nonetheless. And let's see who comes out on top. And it is going to be Sandhagen in what was apparently a fantastic fight. Moves to 12-2. The 5'11", 27-year-old beats the Russian in round number 2 with a knee bar submission. And Sandhagen says it was a fantastic war and apparently a very good fight. Love to see that. So Danny the Hatchet Henry takes on Maxi Blanco, 36 years old. He's not getting any younger, and that record is not getting any better. This might be the end for Blanco if he can't get things rolling. And Blanco goes to a winning record, 13-12-1-1. And in the very first round, nonetheless, beating Henry rather quickly. And so let's see what Blanco has to say. He's excited. He wants to go to a post-show party. And he's very charismatic, apparently. Good for him. All right. Alex Reyes, 17-4, taking on Francisco Trinaldo, the 42-year-old Trinaldo. I wouldn't be surprised if he retires rather soon. 42 years old is quite the age. Although Executioner Reyes takes out Trinaldo in round 2 via knockout. This could we be seeing a retirement here from Trinaldo? As in fact, he says that after this defeat, he is going to be retiring. So Francisco Trinaldo finishing off his career at 42 years old. 23-10, his final record. And Reyes shows some respect to his opponents. And so now Ilya Kurzanov taking on Evan Dunham in the last of the prelim fights, 16-10 versus 18-10-1. Evan Dunham, you may remember him from UFC Undisputed 3, the video game. He's heavily favored to take the win here, and he does exactly that. Unanimous decision. Fight is rated as being a pretty good fight. So that's good for Evan Dunham. He moves to 19-10-1. And he wants to face off Tony Martin. So we're at our first main card fight, and as you can see, it's the heavyweights going at it. Gabriel Gonzaga taking on Alexander Emelianenko, Fedor's brother, trying to get it done in the UFC. Gonzaga, 41 years old, 17-13, I should say, coming off of 4 straight losses. It's not looking exactly very good for him. He's always a good name to keep around simply because, well, it's Gabriel Gonzaga. Coming off a loss to Harrison Magallanes, Justin Ledet, Frank Mir, and Black Beast Derek Lewis. Needing to turn things around, as is Emelianenko, who I believe is also coming off some losses. Yeah, consecutive losses to Curtis Blades and Victor Pesta. So both of these guys, almost gatekeepers in the division, both up there in age and just fighting really for bragging rights, as it would seem. Bookies favoring Emelianenko just a little bit as he does take it out, knockout in round number 2. So Emelianenko getting the victory there, and he says Gonzaga gave him a good fight. Up next, it's going to be Damian Webster-Stasiak taking on Cole Magrino Miller. Alright, this is going to be at the featherweight division. 30-year-old Miller at 11-7. Or Stasiak has 11-7 from Poland, and Miller 23-13-1 from Georgia. He's favored ever so slightly, and he's coming off straight losses over Feely and Makashvili, although he does have a win over Brian Ortega. That's a very good win for Cole Miller. And let's see what Stasiak's been up to. He has a win over AJ McKee, a very game AJ McKee, I should say, after having 4 straight losses. So Stasiak doing well to get himself back up there. And I think I'm going to take Miller on this one, as actually Webster surprising everybody, knocking out Cole Miller in round number 3. Could this be the beginning of or almost a genesis for Stasiak? Only 5-5 from Poland, 3-5, well, moving to 4-5 in the UFC after 4 straight losses. Able to get a win over McKee, and now a big win over Cole Miller. This could be the start of something for Stasiak. Be sure to look out for him in the near future. Damian Stasiak, he wants to fight Chad Skelly, who has been ranked recently, as now I believe these are the middleweights. Devin Brown Bear Clark taking on Magomed Ankalaev. As actually light heavyweights, Devin Clark 13-2. They are favoring him heavily over the 13-1 Ankalaev. Let's see what Ankalaev has been up to. Has had 5 fights in the UFC thus far, with wins over Koshkin, Collier, Pedro, and Abdallah. So 4-1 in the UFC is no small order, as Clark has had a victory over Glover Teixeira, Pokrajak, Cummins. I mean, those are some pretty big names to have wins over. So I'm going to take Clark with this one, just like the bookies are. Yeah, 440 to 350. I think Devin Clark's going to take this rear naked choke in the first round. Nice job by Devin Clark getting the win over the Russian, and seeing that record improve to 14-2 from South Dakota. You never see very many of his people from South Dakota. Nonetheless, moving on, and he's happy for his gym over at the Armory to help him out. As we move on in the main card, Alan Brahma Joban taking on the Celtic Kid Jake Matthews. Alright, heavily favored is Jake Matthews by betting line minus 1050. Can he improve to 17-4 with this fight here? In fact, he does via knockout 2 seconds away from the end of the round in round 2. Good fight, and Jake Matthews improves to 17-4, and he's happy to do so. Co-main event time, Santiago Ponzinibbio, I mentioned earlier on, had a drug test failure about, what was it, like June of last year in game. 27-4-1, has a good record to show for it, his career-wise, against Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. They're favoring him a little bit. Let's see what they've been up to. I know Masvidal's coming off a win over Tarek Safadine, but before that, look at that, 5 straight losses, including Daichi Abe, Bilal Muhammad, Tian Young Kim. Not the greatest of looks from Masvidal, but he's on the right track. And Ponzinibbio, let's see what he's been doing. Lost to Leonardo Santos, Thiago Alves had a no contest because of that drug test. And then Mike Perry, Yoshihiro Akiyama, but that's before the game started. So Ponzinibbio can get back into it. Doesn't even have a fight team. That's not going to help him a lot. I'm going to take Masvidal on this one. And he ends up losing, actually. Masvidal losing to Ponzinibbio in round number 3 via TKO. So Henteboa able to get himself going, and he praises Masvidal for a tough fight. And we're now at the main event. It's Ed Ruth taking on Antonio Cara de Zapato, Carlos Jr. in the middleweight division. Heavily favored is Ed Ruth, and you can see why. Look at these skills that he has on him. Look at all that submission and wrestling stats, like 86 wrestling, 92 takedown defense, national caliber wrestling. Experience could be a little bit higher, but I mean, he's still very young, 29 years old, has a lot of time to improve, ranked number 25 in the UFC, 9-1 overall, and is coming off a loss, of course, to Rashad Evans. And his opponents, Carlos Jr., of course, also coming off a no contest to Melvin Gillard and a loss to Vitor Belfort. He needs a big win, and can he get it over the 29-year-old? A little bit of a 2-inch height advantage, I should say, for him. Ed Ruth, can he get the victory here? We're gonna see. We're gonna start this timer and see how it goes. Herb Dean, the referee. A lot of controversy around Herb Dean recently, not stopping fights when they really should be stopped. Nonetheless, Ruth is shooting in. Takedown successful. Ed Ruth already getting it on the ground. Trying to get it to half guard. Ed Ruth on Carlos Jr. And sucks that I haven't been able to play this game much recently, as I talked to you guys for a little bit. As I'm actually going to stop the timer and talk about this. Sucks that I haven't been able to play this game. I've really enjoyed this save. I've enjoyed talking to you guys about it. I've enjoyed uploading it. I just haven't had the time. Ever since I left to go on vacation to Colorado, I came back and I had class and I had work to deal with, and I'm sure you guys know the whole deal. Life gets in the way of things sometimes. Nonetheless, I'll try my best to, get some more videos out there as I continue this save. I do love playing this game after all, and I hope you guys can see that. I won't be playing as much, and the videos won't be as long, but hopefully I can get some more videos out there for you guys as we continue this main events here. Ed Ruth and Antonio Carlos Jr., as Ed Ruth is still on it here, looking to set up something. Remember, he does have him on the ground, throwing some right hands to the body. Another submission attempt. Carlos Jr. blocks it. Another submission attempt, and Jr.'s just getting away from all these. Another submission attempt, and jiu-jitsu. Carlos Jr. does have the jiu-jitsu, but Ruth was able to get it going on the ground and go for those submissions, although he wasn't able to really get anything going. Of course, freestyle wrestling, Ed Ruth is going to look to get it on the ground really quickly, as Ruth is using dirty boxing and using his wrestling advantage to get things going for himself. It's looking like Ruth might win this fight. It's only the second out of 5 possible rounds, however. Takes a knee strike, and Junior looks like he might be in trouble. Actually, Junior is able to get a takedown. Again, rear naked choke. Ruth is able to defend it, but Junior looks to be in a dominant position. Rear naked choke, and Ruth is able to stop it, but that's going to be... They're going to say it's a 10-9 to Ruth. I don't know. I mean, Carlos Jr. got that takedown at the end. Not exactly sure what could have happened. I know Ruth got... As he goes for a takedown... Oh no. Ruth is going to lose. And it says that Ruth is dealing with the punches. Carlos Jr. nearly winning the fight right there. As a takedown attempt from Carlos Jr. gets miffed. This is the third of 5 possible rounds, and apparently Ruth's won the first 2. Thought he might have taken the second round. Minute left on round number 3. Ed Ruth seems to be in a bit of trouble. Nearly ended earlier on in this third round. As the third round will come to a close. And it's definitely going to go... What? They're saying it went to Ruth. I cannot believe how the judges aren't giving this to Carlos Jr. He seems to be rocking him at every attempt. Ooh. Ruth smothering Cara de Zapato. Ruth knee strike to the side of the ribs. He's getting a lot of strikes, and that might be why. Because Junior is able to get these big punches in. as Junior is actually looking tired. Left jab, night, right, straight. Right hook from Ruth. Straight lands hard. Big strike. Collapses to the floor. Ruth is moving in quickly, unloading. The referee pulls Ruth away, and Easy Ed Ruth takes it by TKO finally. In round number 4, it looked to be only a matter of time. Carlos Jr. fought back in round number 2 and 3, even rocking Ruth in round number 3. Could have ended there, but Ruth was able to withstand the pressure and finish it off in round number 4. 323 in round number 4. Easy Ed Ruth is your winner. Give some respect to Carlos Jr. As there you have it, UFC Fight Night Ruth versus Cara de Zapato, 1100 attended in Germany. As Ed Ruth will probably see his company stock rise a little bit after that win over Carlos Jr. A little bit of a surprise with Ponzinibbio taking it over Masvidal, and Devin Clark getting a big win over Ankalaev, Stasiak a big win over Cole Miller, and Fedor's brother getting the dub over Gonzaga. Nothing doing there, and that is going to do it here for this episode. You have seen Ruth take on Cara de Zapato, Carlos Jr., and I'm going to show you the next card that's going on in this save, and from there we'll sign off as we load into the next day here. And like I said, all the emails and all the contract renegotiations, I'll be taking care of that away from the camera. I'll be letting you guys know of any, potential like big prospects to look out for, anything like that. But other than that, anyone that I see that I need to talk to you about as far as like the fights go, I'll let you guys know about. As you can see there, Ruth beats Cara de Zapato in the main event, and that leads us into our next fight card, which is only 2 days away in game. Saturday, week 3, September 2020, UFC Fight Night, Pokrajak versus Reyes. Main event is Igor Pokrajak taking on Dominic Reyes. And there you can see the rest of the main card, including Hussier da Silva, Michael Trizano, Chad Laprice, Zach Makovsky, Jung Yeon Kim. There you can see our prelims, including Valentina Shevchenko. She, in this game, in my save, has fallen off very hard. Has had a couple of consecutive losses. Shevchenko, look at all those losses she's had. Unbelievable. She's currently fighting in real life for the flyweight title, or she would have if Montano had actually fought for it. Nonetheless, that is our next fight card, and that is what you are looking forward to next episode. So thanks guys for watching. Sorry it's been a while since I've gotten back, but that was Ruth versus Carlos Jr. And I'll see you guys for Pokrajak versus Reyes. This has been AZPlow21. Be sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment. Sorry that I've been away for a while, but I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take it easy.